Is Charles Leclerc cursed at the Monaco Grand Prix? And is he perhaps feeling the pressure of being a Ferrari driver? Let's dive right in. Hello, everybody. This is Tyson Silva of the Formula One Digest. I'm joined by my co-host Mark, and we're going to be reacting to some interesting news. Is Charles Leclerc cursed at the Monaco Grand Prix? Mark, do you want to give us a bit of more information?
Yeah, so just last weekend, Charles Leclerc crashed Niki Lauda's Ferrari in at the Grand Prix, the historic Monaco Grand Prix. He claimed that the brakes failed, and yeah, that's a very expensive repair bill for such a historic car.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like obviously, Niki Lauda is one of the greatest drivers to ever be in Formula One. He had such an impact on racing and even was a big figurehead for Mercedes for a little bit. And I think it's just, it's unfortunate that he crashed the car. But I also think that, this kind of begs the question as to does he perhaps is the psychological mind somewhere else when he's driving in Monaco, because obviously that's where he's from. That race probably means more to him than any other driver because it's where he's from. It's obviously one of the most historic tracks in F1. Could perhaps he be almost getting like putting himself in a weird psychological path by crashing over this past week, and as we head into the Monaco Grand Prix in a few weeks?
Yeah, I think like crashing a car like this does really get into your head. And he hasn't had the best of luck in the past at Monaco, crashing in his rookie year with Sauber, uh, crashing during qualifying, and just overall not,
Well, last
great
year,
performances.
last year was just terrible for him because the guy was on provisional pole. It looked like he was going to get pole. I know Max Verstappen was on a lap that could have maybe bested him, but then he obviously crashed and red flagged the session. And then you'd think, okay, well, he can make up for it by winning the race the next day. And he was unable to participate in the race because of his gearbox. So
Yeah.
his luck seems to be just absolutely terrible there. And I wonder if it's just because of how much the race means to him and how much is at stake for him if he doesn't make or if he leaves Monaco in a few weeks' time with less than a podium.
Yeah, sometimes when you have big races like that you really want to do well in, I know I've experienced it where you go in and you basically just overdrive the car, and you're pushing yourself past the limits of what you would want to be pushing the car to. And yeah, the psychological factor does play a big part in it. I know I've psyched myself out during hockey games when I was playing hockey. I mean, it's not just limited to Formula One. I mean, you see pitchers in baseball do it. Russell Westbrook did it in basketball all the time. And people just choke sometimes.
Let's not forget the Maple Leafs against
Oh my
Boston like
goodness.
every other year. Like,
They love exiting the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if the players just, want to go play golf for the rest of the summer, but there's another first round loss for us.
yeah, I thought it just to get sidetracked a little bit, I honestly thought that this was their best playoff performance since Austin Matthews came to the team, just because no matter what, they just kept fighting for it. And there's no shame in losing to the defending two-time champs. So I'll just say that about it. But going back to Charles Leclerc, I think it's just really interesting that, this narrative now on in the media is being pushed because of a few unfortunate accidents and circumstances, and it almost begs the question of his psychological mind as he continues to have the lead in the drivers' championship, which is slowly kind of uh, been been lowered as Max Verstappen himself has been pretty hot over the last 2 weeks or last two race weekends. Obviously, the Imola was a good example where Charles was looking at a solid P2 or P3 finish, and then ended up overdriving the car, and then I think he finished in like fifth or sixth.
Yeah, and like it's small mistakes like this. Right now, it's not going to cost him that much because he still does have the championship lead. And if he can get a few good well, if he can get luck on his side and have Max have a few bad races, he can really get back into the fight and not lose his championship standings. Um, but it's going to have to pull both ways for each driver. I mean, Max could also have bad luck. Charles could have really, really good luck. Um, it's not as clear cut as it was 2 years ago when the battle was between Max and Lewis, where, Lewis was winning, Max was winning, Lewis was winning. It's kind of just now which driver is going to make the least amount of mistakes and which driver is going to be in the clearest mind space, which in my opinion, I think Max is, being the defending champion. He has nothing to lose this season except for his, title reign.
No, definitely. And I think that this is where the championship experience kind of takes precedence over perhaps a better car and maybe more talent, just because Max knows what it takes to win and he's done it already. Charles is still trying to fight for his first. And, you look at Miami itself. Now, maybe this is car speed and stuff like that, but Ferrari looked so strong at the start of the season. And then you go to Miami where Max almost carved through both of the Ferraris from, I think it was third or fourth place, and ended up having like a 7-second lead on Charles, and probably would have had a bigger gap or like a bigger lead had there not been a safety car, right? So I think it's going to be so interesting to see how Charles kind of deals with the pressure of leading the championship, but not just as a driver, but for a Ferrari driver, because Ferrari is one of the most historic names in Formula One. And to win with Ferrari, it would probably mean the most to him, right? So I think that going into these next races, obviously we have the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend, I believe. And, we'll see how he performs there. But with Monaco only a few short weeks away, he needs to get himself into that right mindset to be successful.
Yeah, and that's going to start at the Spanish Grand Prix, and he's going to need all of the luck on his side to really bolster his confidence. I know both Ferrari drivers are really struggling right now with their confidence. Uh, you know, uh, Carlos Sainz, he signed that big contract and had that first lap exit out of the Grand Prix in Imola, and then he had wretched luck in Miami. So, both Ferrari drivers right now are really, really, really looking for some good luck to hit their side.
Definitely. And the argument can be made that had there been maybe 5 more laps there, I feel like even though Sergio Perez did take his shot at Carlos, he probably would have had a couple more chances, and you would be looking at a Red Bull 1 and 3. So I think that right now for Ferrari needs to really focus on getting Charles and Carlos in the right mind space. They need to have a good weekend going into the Spanish Grand Prix and going into Monaco in a few weeks, because Monaco is basically going to be a big decider, in my opinion, as to who's going to win the championship. I know it's still really early, but the psychological games that are played, especially going to such a crazy track like Monaco, is going to be so interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one question for you and our viewers. If Charles Leclerc wins the Monaco Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time, do you think he will go on and try for the Triple Crown? Now, the Triple Crown, if for those of you who don't know, is a win at the Monaco Grand Prix, a win at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and a win at the Indianapolis 500. That is the crown jewel of those three events are the crown jewel of motorsports. Now, my question is, do you think Charles will go on and contest for the Triple Crown?
I'm not sure. I think that's actually a really interesting thing to talk about, because obviously you have there's a big status thing that comes with it, and I think at the end of the day, it's going to be whether Charles thinks it's worth it or if he wants to focus on winning a championship. Um, because obviously you want to keep yourself fresh for the next few races. Obviously, the Canadian Grand Prix is also coming up in a few weeks. Yeah, no, I'm not entirely sure, but I think that if he wants to go for it, why not? But because of the position, I think it'll also depend on the position that he's in the championship. Like if Max wins this weekend or Charles doesn't have a good result this weekend, then we could potentially see him just hold off and want to just get ready for the next race. So that way, then he can keep himself in the fight for the championship. But yeah, no, it's like I feel like right now it's anyone's guess, and I think it'll depend on the Spanish Grand Prix.
Absolutely. I think those are some great words there, Tyson.
For sure. No, thank you. But no, yeah, you guys are the best if you guys have made it this far. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram at the Formula One Digest, and we will see you guys in the next video for the weekend warm up as the drivers head to Spain.